There's very few things I remember from my childhood, but one of the core memories I have is the first time I tried to ride a bike. I still remember it was my dad that took off the support wheels of this black and white fancy Italian bike I had back then. And like a stupid guy, I started going round and round instead of trying to go straight first, and I fell a bazillion times. But I was very determined to learn how to ride a bike. To me, this was going to be the first time I'd experienced independence. I mean, up until now, I was only like walking around my building and I was limited to that. Sure enough, I did learn. And then I started to wander around. I'd go to the other part of the town, I'd go to a park, to a cafeteria. I found out that I love to explore, something that would also bring me here today. And then I grew up, I came into middle school, and by now I started to have meaningful friendships. And this was the first time I assembled a biker's gang. Our job was to safeguard our block. We would patrol down the streets, making sure everything's fine. Keep in mind, we were middle school kids. But this was the first time I learned how to lead teams, something that would become a big part of my life eventually. But by now, I was very comfortable with biking. Like, just biking was boring, so I had to get a little adventurous. Please don't tell my parents any of the following statements I make. So, I started to ride my bike without my hands on it. I'd jump off of a pavement. I would drift. That was one. I would ride between cars on streets. I've had injections up my butt. And as much as I look back at it all as stupidity today, truth is, if I never did all of that, I wouldn't find out that I love to take risks and that I am fearless. But soon enough, I would find out that not everything's nice. Early into high school, I was once biking, and I'm a very hyper-aware person. And I saw this person next to me running at the same speed at which I was biking. So I slowed down a bit, and he slows down too. As I tried to get away, just a few seconds later, bam, I get a hit on my head. And by the time I did the math and figured that it's probably better to save my head than the bike on that day, I got another hit. And then I gave the bike away. That was only the first of 5 times I would get my bike stolen. And in fact, last semester, I had 10 flat tires in just 4 months. But by then, I had grown into a person that was more patient and more tolerant. Later into high school, my parents were never the ones to pamper me. If you want to do your stuff, go get it done. And so I had to go for summer classes, and I'd have to bike for them. And mind you, I grew up in Dubai, and this is a desert. It's above 120 degrees. Biking at noon is not fun. Sometimes I got close to fainting, but that was the first time I experienced severe discomfort. And I understood that problems are just a part of your lifestyle and that you can combat them without being stressed. Truth is, when I first thought of talking about this topic, I was very hesitant. Who talks about a bike? But then I realized that this was never about my bikes. This was about my relationship with biking. Biking is what taught me how to be independent. Biking is what taught me that I loved to lead. Biking is what taught me that I was patient and tolerant. Biking is what taught me that I love to explore. But most importantly, biking taught me that I could be happy by myself, establishing a strong sense of stability forever. At times, we'll find ourselves in positions where we don't know what's next. Me in my youth, or my dad, I love you, in his midlife crisis. We'll be confused, we'll be lost with what's next, what should we do? And for those times, it's very important to remember where we have come from, what's made us what we are today, and even if they may seem minuscule, how much they've impacted us. And for those moments that you guys have today, I say, in each lifetime, find your bike, ride it, and never stop riding. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.